Why love makes us feel so vulnerable. What if love makes us feel exposed? Not because we're weak, but because we're wired for it. That warmth from a touch? Neurochemistry. That fear when they pull away? Survival instinct. We've all felt it. Replaying a silence, flinching at closeness that feels both safe and dangerous. Love lights us up and makes us brace. Because letting someone in means handing over the softest part of who we are and hoping they don't drop it. By the end of this video, you'll see why love feels so risky and why that vulnerability might be the most powerful thing about us. How we fall in love and rewire our brain. Before fear or vulnerability, there's the fall. And it's not just emotional, it's biological. When we fall in love, the brain floods with dopamine, driving pleasure and desire. Oxytocin builds trust. Norepinephrine heightens focus. Serotonin drops, often triggering that obsessive early phase. These chemicals form new neural pathways, wiring our brain to link that person with safety, comfort, and reward. Their voice calms us. Their silence stings. A text becomes a dopamine hit. A hug? Instant regulation. We're not imagining the high. Our brain is lit up in all the right places. That's why their absence can feel like pain, and heartbreak like withdrawal. Love imprints itself on our nervous system. It isn't just felt. It's built, memory by memory, until they become a part of how our brain defines home. The fear of being seen. It's not love we fear most. It's being truly seen. Not the filtered version we show the world, but the flawed, uncertain, emotional self underneath. Because once someone sees that version and still leaves, it's not rejection of an act. It's rejection of us. And our nervous system feels that like danger. The amygdala, our brain's threat detector, flares up. Heart races. Muscles tense. Vulnerability biologically feels like risk, especially if we've never been fully seen and loved at the same time. That kind of exposure triggers old wiring. Moments we weren't accepted, valued, protected. We brace for the same pain again. Not because we're weak, but because our bodies remember. And the closer love gets, the more it asks us to drop the armor. That's terrifying, but it's also how connection deepens. The fear doesn't mean something's wrong. It means something real is happening. The brain on love. Reward versus alarm. Love draws us in, but also wakes our alarms. While dopamine and oxytocin light up our brain's reward circuits, the amygdala, our internal threat radar, stays alert. It's a strange duality. One part of us feels safe, seen, and high on connection, while another braces for loss. That's why saying "I love you" can feel like stepping off a cliff. Our brains know what's at stake. They remember past pain, betrayal, or abandonment. So even as love floods our bodies with warmth, it also whispers, "What if they leave?" That tension isn't weakness. It's our nervous system trying to protect us from something that feels both beautiful and dangerous. Love feels intense because it is. It lights up the same brain regions as physical pain and survival instinct. We're not overreacting. We're just human, with brains that throw confetti and flares at the same time. Oxytocin, the sweet trap. Oxytocin is often called the love hormone, but it's more like a glue. It bonds us fast, deep, and without asking if it's safe. When we touch, cuddle, kiss, or even just feel emotionally close, oxytocin floods our system. It lowers fear, builds trust, and softens our defenses. That's beautiful, but risky. Because the more oxytocin we release, the more emotionally invested we become. Our nervous system starts to code their presence as safety, and their absence as threat. That's why even small changes in closeness can feel like panic. Our brain isn't just reacting to now, it's reacting to a loss of regulation. We feel abandoned before anything even ends. The same chemical that made us feel held can also make us feel shattered. Oxytocin doesn't evaluate character. It just opens the door. And sometimes, it lets in someone who's not ready to stay. The illusion of control. Love asks us to surrender, without a safety net. And for most of us, that's terrifying. In the rest of life, we fight for control. Of our time, our image, our outcomes. But romantic love doesn't work like that. We can't logic our way through it. We can't predict it. And we definitely can't guarantee how the other person will feel tomorrow. And that loss of control? Our nervous system reads it as danger. Suddenly, a late reply feels like abandonment. A shift in tone sounds like rejection. Not because it is, but because we've handed over the steering wheel of our emotional safety. In love, we risk being hurt. We risk not being chosen back. And that's the cost of real connection. It makes us human. We're not broken for wanting control. We're just wired to survive. But love isn't about control. It's about choosing to let go. even when every part of us wants to hold on tight. Vulnerability equals strength. We think strength means having it all together, being untouchable, unaffected. But real strength? It's letting someone in, knowing they might leave. It's saying, "This is me," and standing there anyway. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing we ever do, because it means showing up with no mask, no armor, and no guarantee. And in love, that's the only way we grow. Neuroscience tells us that openness builds emotional resilience. That safe, vulnerable connection helps regulate our nervous system, quiets the amygdala, and even strengthens our immune response. In other words, being real with someone doesn't just feel good. It makes us stronger. Not everyone deserves our vulnerability, but when we offer it to someone safe, it becomes a doorway to healing, not just connection. So if love makes us feel exposed, raw, and terrified, it's not a flaw. It's proof we're alive. And if we can stand in that space and still choose love, that's power. So the next time love makes your chest tighten or your thoughts spiral, pause. Breathe. Remember, this isn't weakness. It's your nervous system trying to protect something precious. Because to love is to risk. To open is to trust. And to stay even when fear whispers run, that's the real flex. If this made something inside you feel seen, maybe share it with someone you trust. Because sometimes, the most healing words are the ones we didn't know we needed to hear until we heard them.